All right, good morning. Welcome back to the Surge training. This morning, we're going to focus on Real Scout. We're going to talk about how it works, why it works, and how you should work with it. Like yesterday's session on Moxie work, Moxie Engage, and your CRM and how to use it, it's going to be more than just how it works. We're going to focus on um, why it exists and why we really recommend that you master it and learn it to really, really supercharge your business. Again, like many tools in real estate, I often find that we're not well trained on exactly what it's supposed to do, how it's supposed to make our lives easier, and then the 1, 2, 3, 4 steps that we need to really focus on to really understand it. So that's what we're going to do today with Real Scout. Again, like Moxie Engage, there's a ton of online information on the ABCs of how to do it, both on their native websites and our own websites on the Moxie Hub and in the Academy training. You can find a ton of information on how it works. So my hope again today is to really bring it down closely to what we've been doing the last several weeks and really engaging it and touching your business on a daily basis. So with that, let's just jump right in. And I'm actually going to start with one of those online videos that's accessible on the Real Scout website before we get into a little bit more of the 30,000 foot view of what Real Scout is, all the way down to how you can use it every single day. So let's go to that. Let me bring up the video and let it play for you. It's about 6 minutes long, so please watch it, take notes if you want, pay attention. And as always, if you miss it, we can always point you back to where this was found. But they'll go into really quickly all the details of what it does for you as an agent, and then we'll expand on it.
Welcome to Real Scout, your new home search platform and property alert system. Consider Real Scout the best alternative to services like the MLS when setting up your leads and clients to receive listing alerts and updates about properties that match their search criteria. Why? Because Real Scout alerts get 10 times greater open rates and click-through rates than standard real estate emails. That means more engagement, more home search activity, and more showing requests, which will result in more closed transactions for you. Before we jump into a brief demonstration of how to get results with Real Scout, I want to tell you about our Member Support and Learning Center, which contains lots of helpful information about how to use the system. There are FAQs, helpful documents like a cheat sheet and a flyer for your clients, as well as lots of video tutorials. There's a video on every part of Real Scout, and each one is only about 2 to 3 minutes long, so they're easy to digest. You can also find contact information. Our member success coaches are available during business hours. So let's get started. As I mentioned, the Real Scout experience all begins with our beautiful natural language email alerts. So in order to get results right away, all you need to do is add some clients to the system. Adding a client is simple. Just click the big orange button at the top of your screen. When you do, you'll see a pop-up that allows you to add the contact information. Enter a name, email address. You can even add multiple emails by separating them by comma. A phone number, lead source, those two are optional. Then specify their financial qualifications. If you don't know, just click on Don't Know. Now we have a choice to make at the bottom of the window. It asks, who will set up the listing alert? Me or my client? If you don't know the client search criteria, you can select My Client. The next step will be to customize the welcome email that will invite the client to go through an easy 3-step process to create their own search. However, if you know anything about the client's criteria at all, then we recommend you select the Me button. So you can create the property alert yourself and have a greater control over the outcome to ensure the client gets your emails. Let's go ahead and click Me. In the next pop-up window, choose the property class you want to search for. Then click Start Searching. Now you'll see the alert creation screen with a map on the left and criteria on the right. Begin the search by adding basic filters such as status, property type, price, bedrooms, bathrooms, and square feet. To add locations, you can add specific cities, zip codes, and neighborhoods. Or you can draw on the map. With a polygon, radius, or square, you can even add a combination of all three to gain maximum control over location. But keep in mind that all these location fields add the results together. If you need more help understanding how our locations field work, click on this link here under locations to watch a short video that provides more details. When you're happy with the search, click the Save Client button at the top right corner to give the search a custom name. Set the alert schedule. In the automatic mode, ASAP daily and monthly, your client receives matches automatically according to the schedule. Now, be sure to click the blue Save button at the top right to save the property alert. After the page refreshes, you'll be taken to this pop-up where you can add an additional custom message or click on the Send Now button. If you do not want to send all the results right now, click on Do Not Send so you can manually send them later. When you see the list of homes that match the search criteria, they are organized in 3 categories: queue, sent, and trash. Once that process is complete, your client will start receiving automated natural language emails that are tailored specifically around their lifestyle, helping them find their dream home faster. So that's the basics. Remember, agents who get the best results with Real Scout are the ones who add their leads, prospects, referrals, and clients to the system on a regular basis. Every time you meet someone new who says they'd like to buy or sell a home, put them into Real Scout and start sending them property alerts. When you do that regularly, we know you'll get results. And in the end, you'll sell more homes. So now it's your turn. Add a few leads or clients and create property alerts for them. How Real Scout will help you generate more offers. If you would like support along the way, please locate the left support tab and click on Help and Tutorials or submit a request for our member success team.
All right, so hope you got a really quick insight into what it does, how it does it. And again, like yesterday with Moxie, I'm not going to try to convince you that it works. I'm not trying to demonstrate how it works. She did a good job of that. But it's more trying to convince you that if you engage and take the time to set it up, it will save you time. It will take away from your ability to focus on dollar producing activities. Once you set up the alerts, once you are good at growing your database, linking your database, and you can link your database and your CRM to Real Scout, then you can start real time to see when your leads, your buyers, your sellers are looking at property, when they're active, when they are thinking about real estate. You will get alerted. And because you're practicing what to say and how to say it, you're learning what a script to a dialogue to a conversation is, you're learning how to classify an A, B, or C buyer or seller. You're going to be so far advanced in what you're doing and how you're doing it. And again, this is kind of a reverse training where we kind of started teaching you the skill without really telling you why you're doing it. But it's a way I have found that really, really works. For some reason, agents will like to train with an idea of how they're going to grow their business and build it, and they like to see the end result in their mind. But I want to make that and grow that very strongly. So then when we show you, these are the things you have to do, this is the sweat, blood, and tears to get to that point, you're more likely to do it because you have that idea fresh in your head about what you want to accomplish. So you've mastered your database, you practiced and perfected and gotten better, or at least gotten better at your scripts to dialogue, to conversations. You have set up your values-based goals. You put those goals into a business plan. You've taken that business plan and put all of your numbers and all of your contacts into T, and now you're out there and you've got your buyers in there and they go online and they look at a house and boom, you're going to get an alert. They looked at this house once, they looked at it twice, they looked at it 5 times. You're getting pinged. You know that the person that told you once that wants to buy is actively shopping, and you're pinged, and you have their contact information. So you pick up the phone, you call them, and you go into your scripts, your buyer scripts, any one of them that we've shown you. And so this is the idea of really marrying the technology and the tools that you have at your disposal with the training and the systems that we're teaching you and putting them all together. Real Scout is another example of that. So again, any little thing on how to log in, how to set up the links, all those things can be found online. And we'll touch on a couple of them, but for the most part, I want to focus on what exactly is Real Scout? Why should you be concerned about it? Why should you put the time and trouble and effort into going into it, figuring it out, and getting it done? And this is what I'll share now. This is a presentation from Real Scout, and it was talking about who they are and what they do. And it starts with this idea that grow your business like a Silicon Valley tech company. So one of the underlying themes that I've been sharing with you the last several days through Surge is this idea that you do not have to be big to think big, to talk big, to act big, and to look big. What do I mean by that? Yesterday, I showed you how using your CRM to its maximum potential, you can look like Zillow. You can invite people in to look. When you have them looking, you can classify them and contact them, because you're always monitoring, you're always aware, you're always looking. So that disparity in internet leads to actual buyers and sellers becomes less pronounced in your personal business. Real Scout does the same thing. Grow your business like a Silicon Valley tech company. What does that mean? Well, these are the companies we're talking about. These are the companies that Real Scout is talking about. This is who they try to emulate. How to work like Amazon, how to look and work like Facebook or Google or Salesforce. I mean, these are amazing companies by almost any standard measure. And rather than think you're just one agent, you're just a small team, you cannot work like them. You can. You won't have the same valuation, but you can have the same philosophy. You can have the same methodology. And with tools like Engage and Real Scout, you can have some of the same functionality. And that's what we want to focus on for the next several minutes. So what do all these companies have in common? They do have something in common, other than they make a lot of money, which is something you want to have in common with them. And that is they have networks. They don't always necessarily sell a product. They don't always necessarily sell a service. Some do, but not all. Some are just connecting people to services or servicers. They're just connecting people to products, or they're connecting people to each other where commerce can take place. They're platforms. We'll touch on that idea near the end. But again, we are building something much like this. And the more you understand it, the more you understand how your company, your office, all of the people that work with you at Intero Cupertino, when they use the tools that we provide, help you look and act like this, I think you'll be surprised, pleasantly so. All right, so they're driven by a network effect. That's another thing that all these companies have at their core. And the first logical question should be, what is a network effect? Well, simply put, a network effect occurs when a product or service becomes more valuable to its users as more people use it. And that seems intuitive, right? The more someone needs it, the more people need something, the more valuable it's going to become to them. How do you create this network? How do you link all these people that need services and make that service and or product more valuable the more people see it, use it, touch it, want it? And why does this network effect matter? Because understanding network effects helps build better products and businesses, especially since network effects are the key dynamic behind many successful software-based companies and real estate companies. Now, I'll tell you, if you go out and get a listing, the most likely chance that you're going to sell it is someone else, another agent, sees it on MLS, sees it on Zillow, sees it on Redfin. They have a buyer that wants the property like that, and they go out and look at it. They make an offer, and you get into contract and you sell it. Sometimes agents double end their deals, but even in that environment, when they double end, it's because multiple buyers have seen it, multiple people have looked at it, multiple people have considered it, and it's just that your client happened to be the one that likes it the most, makes the offer, and gets it. But even then, that network effect is there. The problem has been historically that network effect is not very clear. It's not very tight, and we've not taken as much advantage of it in the past as we can now. We tried to, and we did a lot based on the MLS. That's all the MLS is. It's tying multiple agents, multiple brokers together so that all those agents, all those brokers can take their clients from so many different places and all gather together in one place, in this case on the MLS, to transact. How do we make that more powerful locally? Well, as I mentioned a little bit a while ago, where these things go, let's set some terms and definitions so that when I talk about them in the next several minutes, you'll understand what I mean. And the first one is, we already said, the network, a group of interconnected people, a social network or system of things, telephones, printers, computers, etc. Those networks create a marketplace, and that marketplace is a network where money transactions flow between two or more sides with distinct groups of users on each side. In our business, it's buyers and sellers. It's more than that. It's lenders and borrowers. It's title companies. It's escrow companies. It's all number of things. But let's stick to buyers and sellers right now for the purposes of Real Scout and how it works. A successful marketplace is where supply and demand are attracted to the same place. If a buyer wants to buy a house through their agent, through their broker, they can go on MLS. They can go on Zillow directly. They can go on Redfin directly. They can go on Intero.com directly. But when it works best, you have two parties guided usually by professionals into a marketplace so that they can transact. Ultimately, what that creates is a platform, which is a network of users and developers. The multi-sided feedback loop between those users, developers, and the platform itself creates a flywheel effect, increasing value for each of those groups. It can also be thought of as a network that can be programmed, customized, and extended by outside users. Now, when I started this presentation, this surge, and I did the orientation, and I talked to you about how the way I coach, the way I train is in a three-legged operation: brokerage, money, and data. And I started to explain how they work together. This is the platform. The real estate deal, when a buyer and a seller enter a marketplace, hopefully through your network, then they on a platform. And the platform is because they're not just going to need a buyer's agent. They're not just going to need the listing agent. They're going to need a lot of services to complete this transaction. The easier and cleaner and more efficient the system is, the more of these transactions can take place. This is the beauty of the platform. This is what Amazon is. This is what Uber does. This is what these companies have done. And I'm telling you, this is where real estate is going. So before you think, what does it matter to me what a marketplace is? What does it matter what a platform is? Think about it like you're going to the beach and you want to get in the water. We all know what a riptide is. A riptide is a small, powerful current that pulls away from the shore. If you don't understand what a riptide is, if you cannot identify one, then you're at risk. If you're a realtor today and you don't know what a network is, you don't know what a marketplace is, you don't know what a platform is, how it works, and how brokerages are set up to change them, then you're like that beachgoer that is unaware of a riptide. Now, just like a beachgoer, you may not see it, you may forget, and you get caught in the riptide. If you know what to do, you're still going to be okay. You know not to fight it. You know not to swim against the riptide. You know to go against what seems likely, and that's swimming straight back to shore. You know to swim out to sea so that you don't fight the riptide. You swim out until it becomes less affected on you, and then you can swim laterally and then eventually back to the beach. It's the same thing in real estate. Most realtors don't understand this is happening. They're already in the riptide. If they fight it, if they try to swim straight back to shore, if your answer to, well, I can beat Zillow, I can beat Redfin, I can beat all these disruptors in the business by just swimming harder. If I just paddle harder, I'll get to the beach. You won't, right? So ideally, you know it ahead of time. Ideally, if you haven't known it before, you know it now. You can identify a network, you can identify a marketplace, you can identify a platform. If this is the first time you've heard of it, and this is the first time you're learning how it works, then you're already caught in it. But just like that swimmer in the riptide, knowing what to do from now on will allow you to get back to the beach safely. I hope that analogy made sense. If you need me to explain it more, give me a text, give me a call. I'm happy to do it. But I wanted you at a very minimal level understand when we're talking about your business, when we're talking about real estate going forward, when we're building your or mapping out your business plan, when we're teaching you how to do things, when we're showing you what tools you have at your disposal and why and how they work, if you don't understand, at least at a very basic level, these high 30,000 foot view ideas, it becomes harder to put the work in to make sure you're at least minimally qualified and minimally set up to make these things work. Like with Moxie Engage, there's a million things you can do with it, but I said focus on these 5. Do these 5, master these 5, and you'll be way better off than you were when you started. Once you master those 5, then you can start adding all these intricacies, all this level of detail. It's the same thing with the Real Scout. First log in, watch that 6-minute video again. Look and see how you can put your leads on there. Look and see how you can either ask them or you can put them onto these alerts so that when they are looking, when they're shopping for real estate, you're connected, you're contacted. Now you have an action item. Now they're looking for a house. Let me call them. Let me see what they like about this one. Let's see if I can set an appointment and get towards a close. All right. So at the very minimum, we'll show you how to do that, but is a bigger context, and this is what that context is part of. All right, so it comes again, just one last time, examples. You go from a network to a marketplace to a platform. You're in a network. You're in at Intero Cupertino. You go online and you see someone says, I've got a buyer need, I've got a seller need. You can go in and get training. You're already part of a strong network. Through Intero Cupertino, you're connected to the larger network of Intero proper. You're connected to our franchise agents. You're connected to Home Services of America as the largest broker throughout the country. So the network should already be really self-evident to you. And now start to understand it as being in a marketplace, the place where buyers and sellers connect, all operate on a platform. When those buyers and sellers connect with the different services and needs that they have when they're buying or selling a house. All right. So I hope that was at least somewhat clear. Again, feel free to call me and text me if you need better understanding, or just believe me. I've been doing this for a long time. I know how this works. This has been one of the secrets on how I've been able to make agents so productive, because they understand how quickly things around them are changing. And sometimes they want to stop and figure out exactly what's going on. Sometimes they say, just tell me what to do next and I'll do it because I want to be successful. I'll go either way with you. All right, so what's a platform? That's a larger issue, not quite well known in real estate, but believe me, in the next 3 to 5 years, you'll all understand what a platform is, one way or the other. This is an example. I shared this briefly with you in a previous presentation, and this is quote, "The railroads are in trouble because they assume themselves to be in the railroad business rather than in the transportation business." So they saw themselves as a network. They had people that wanted to get somewhere, and they happened to have a vehicle literally that could get them where they wanted to go. And they said, that's our business. That's all we do. We're the railroad. They didn't understand the larger context of what transportation meant. And they didn't see and understand how soon that would mean more than just transporting people from one place to another. It would mean comfort. It would mean speed. It would mean transporting goods and across tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of miles per year. And they just didn't have the foresight. Instead, the railroads let others take customers away from them because they assumed themselves to be in the railroad business rather than the transportation business. The reason they defined their industry the wrong way, because they were railroad oriented instead of transportation oriented. They were product oriented instead of customer oriented. Now, I also mentioned this, our parent company, the Berkshire Hathaway held entity that sells real estate, is called Home Services of America. It's not called Home Realty of America. It is not just focused on the transaction of buying and selling a house. Rather, they are focused on all the needs and wants of buyers and sellers when they're engaged in the selling or purchasing of real estate, of a house, of a home. But when you understand that and you operate at that level, you're going to become way more powerful in this business. You're going to see how to work with your lender. You're going to work with your title partners in ways you never thought possible. Instead of just someone that they come aboard and say, well, look, I'll give them a loan, I'll give them an escrow, I'll give them a deal. I've got a buyer, they can work with them. That's a lag measure. That's already done. You already did the work to find the client. What you need to see is how do you engage and leverage them to work so that they help you find clients. There are touchy issues here in terms of RESPA and other issues, and trust me, we're well aware of them. And when you listen and follow our guidance on that, you won't be in trouble there. We know how to do it. We know how it works, and we're very good at it. And we'll help you get to the same place where you're leveraging the other two legs of the real estate triangle: brokerage, money, and data, and doing it at a high level. And then you'll be in to that platform stage and not just the network of real estate. This is a great book. In fact, last summer, Jess and I were sitting with Gino, and he mentioned this to us. And I went right out and I bought it. And first time I listened to it, I was driving down to LA and I listened to it, and it was just amazing. And there's so much more I can share with you about this book on modern monopolies, what it takes to dominate the 21st century economy. Those are some very, very sensational titles in the subtitle and title. And it was very eye-opening. I was just sharing these two things. It's all about platforms. It's all about how technology and systems and methodologies are transforming all the industries that we've come to know and love. Some have already happened. The Uber is an example, it's already happened. Amazon is an example, it's already happened. One of the industries that's currently right in the beginning, maybe in the middle in some people's minds, but I think the beginning of transforming into a platform is real estate. And so this is where you want to be, at the very least understanding what changes are coming so you could take advantage of them today. So there's a section in this book, and it's called The Perfect Store. And it says, in the 21st century, the supply chain is no longer the central aggregator of business value. Now networks connect businesses and individuals, enabling them to exchange value among themselves. This is the essence of how platform business models work. Networks are the new aggregator of business value. When the world becomes more connected, what a company owns matters less than the resources it can connect to. Today's most valuable businesses are those that can build and orchestrate large networks, not those that can aggregate and centralize large amounts of resources under one roof. In the old model, scale was a result of investing in and growing a business's internal resources. But in a network world, scale comes from cultivating an external network built on top of your business. What the heck does that mean? Well, we've been talking to you about some very old school methods in real estate. Build your database, use the phone, call them. What we're talking about here is when you do those things, you will be successful. When you learn to operate and work and function with Moxie Engage, with Real Scout, with some of the tools that we're going to be focused on the rest of the week, this is you in a new model. This is you taking what you could do and this idea of you being a store with the connections that you had to customers being the focal point. And now through technology, through these systems, you can be that, not a store, but that platform when multiple people you can attract through technology, through systems, you can connect with and keep under control through these models. So this is what you're trying to create. This is what I hope you're trying to create. For us to reach the goal of being the biggest, most powerful office on the West Coast, you have to understand this. So I will make it my goal to make sure every one of you understands it. So the 4 functions of a platform, what the 4 functions that you need to perform in real estate going forward. So what are these 4 support functions? First, a platform needs to get users to join its network, add them to your database. Then it needs to be able to match those users together so that they can exchange value. You have listings, you have buyers. How do you match them? You only have the possibility of a transaction when not only you have a buyer, but when you have the product, when you have the sell. And it doesn't have to be your listing. And it doesn't have to work the other way. When you have a listing, you don't have to go find the buyer, but you need to create the capacity so that it can. You do that initially by plugging into a brokerage. Literally and legally, that's how it works. Then a brokerage, a modern forward-thinking brokerage like Intero that supports you and gives you the kind of tools that allows you to do this. And that's what this is talking about. You need to have the right tools and services to support its users and the right rules and standards to facilitate transactions and maintain quality in its network. No longer do you have to rely on your memory, on your yellow pad, on the notes you wrote in your phone. You have all these tools, and if you master them, even if you just get good at them, we're not even talking about mastery yet. That's in several weeks from now. Even if you just get good, competent even, you're going to dramatically increase your performance. So audience building, matchmaking, providing core tools and services, creating rules and standards. Now, these gentlemen did not write this book about a modern day platform company with real estate in mind, much less with realtors in mind specifically. But look at how closely those 4 items match with what you need to do to build a big, strong real estate operation. And that's why I found so intriguing about that book and why I'm sharing it with you. Going a little further, this is simply all it looks like. It's the consumers and producers. What is being produced? You're the producer. You're the link to the service, and you build a platform where they connect. You don't always talk to them. You're not always with them. They're not coming into your shop. They're not coming into your office. You just create the links. You create the opportunities for them to browse for them. And then when the need or willingness to actually perform and to transact happens, they're already connected to you. They're not thinking, who should I work with? They're just saying, when I'm ready to buy, when I'm ready to sell, Joe or Mary already always send me their text and give me a call every month or whatever drip campaign you have them on. And then you're not just top of mind, you're the only source. That is the power of a platform, power of a network, and how you can build it and understand it, even in your own personal business. All right. So this is what they do. This is what networks do. They make a platform more useful and more valuable. As more people use it, platforms have a similar dynamic. The more people that are on one side of the network, the more valuable the platform is to the other side of the network. When there are no buyers, that's no good to sellers. When there are no sellers, that's no good to buyers. If one exists but is a much smaller scale than the other, that's going to affect how fast they move, what price they go for. You all understand this. So you always have, since the first day in real estate, have had some semblance of understanding of what a network is. We work in them all the time, every single day. What I want you to do is learn to leverage everything we teach you to master this. You see, the brokerage is in the middle for a reason. Again, both legally, you must have a brokerage to actually transact in real estate as an agent, but functionally, this is where the mass happens. This is where all the listings meet. This is where all the buyers meet in the central point. You can leverage that and also become much more viable and grow your business when you get this. All right, so every additional user increases the value of a product. Every time a listing is added at Intero Cupertino, the value of the product grows. We have more listings to show. That makes all of us more powerful buyer's agents. We have more buyers in our network. That makes us all more powerful listing agents. So we want you to win. You want you to win. But understand, when the person next to you gets that listing, we all just got better. When someone else finds a new buyer into the market, we all just got better. And one of the main reasons we show that and we can demonstrate that is through mastering Real Scout. And that's where we're headed toward to understanding. So the example they gave us was, it's used to have just one phone in the world. The more people use phones, the better. There's only one phone, there's no call, even if they work. Once you add that second phone, once you add that place where person A can pick up and communicate with person B, now it became a little more valuable. Now, when you add that, you can go to anyone in town, that's amazing. Now, when you add, now we can go to anyone on the West Coast, that's powerful. Now when we can go to anywhere in the world. That is revolutionary. And that is the network. The bigger it is, the more powerful it becomes. The more powerful it becomes, the more valuable it is to everyone that uses it. From Alexander Graham Bell picking up that first line and making that first call to today's ubiquitous cell phones, it's almost impossible to measure how much more powerful the phone is today versus when it was just the phone useless. So network effect and social is also straightforward. And again, you all understand this. Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. You know how it works because you work in it every single day. You are, you produce content, you take in content, you shop on it, you do all these things. And the more people use it, the bigger and bigger it gets, the more powerful it becomes. So why are these networks so valuable? Because of growth. They allow you to grow exponentially. Now, you're not going to be a Craigslist. You're not going to be Facebook. You're not going to be on the S&P 500 through an IPO anytime soon. But that doesn't mean your growth can't look like this. That doesn't mean you can't go from 1 or 2 sales a year to 4 to 5 sales a year, from 5 to 6 deals a year to 10 to 15, from 15 to 30 or 50, and so on. So the path of growth, the rate of growth can look like this, all right? I'm gonna speed up a little bit because I wanna make sure I get everything in. This is just demonstrating how companies like Craigslist became powerful using the network effect, building the platforms, and have become so strong, it's really almost impossible to bring them down. I mean, Craigslist, probably the ugliest website out there, really has nothing jazzy, but it just built a niche. And if you want rent a room or something like that, it's just the place to go. It almost doesn't make sense to try to build a competitor. It's just that powerful. Think about your farm. Think about your sphere of influence. Remember when I demonstrated to you and talked to you, do not make the mistake that your sphere of influence looks like a honeycomb. It is not a bunch of spheres connected at the edges. Your sphere overlaps with my sphere, which overlaps with the biggest agent in the valley sphere, which overlaps with on and on and on and on. So understanding that and creating defensibility, what you can do, you cannot keep someone else from adding your contact into their database. But I guarantee you what you can protect is your drip systems are the best. You know what to say and how to say it and when to say it when they do connect with you and when they're there on the point of making a buying or selling decision. Those things you control. That's your defensibility. Your platform on Moxie Engage, your platform through Real Scout, make that stronger and stronger and stronger. Otherwise, you're constantly creating leads and losing them to systems and networks and platforms that are stronger than yours. And that's not going to change unless you change something. And what you can change is what we're trying to teach you this week. And Real Scout's a big part of that. So let's go up a little bit more. Can real estate companies benefit from becoming undisruptible? Of course they can. The stronger you are connected to every other transaction in the business, the stronger you can become, the more you can leverage. Let's give you some examples of that. All right, so how can you work with these networks? So think about this statement. At Intero Real Estate Services, we have 170 serious buyers looking for a home like yours right now. Can you say that? Do you know you can go into any listing appointment and not only say that, you can show it. Why? Because the more agents that are using Real Scout at Intero, whenever they have a buyer, whenever I meet a new buyer and I talk to them on the phone and they tell me I want to buy in Menlo Park, I want to buy in Saratoga, I want to buy a house in Evergreen, I'm going to put them into my contacts. I'm going to link them and put them on Real Scout. I'm going to set up their search or show them to set up for themselves. And now every time that they're out looking for a house in those 3 areas, so I put my buyer in that I met today and I say they're looking in Evergreen. They're looking for $1.5 to $1.8 million. And they're watching, they've got their little app and they're on Real Scout and they're looking for the house of their dreams. You, as an agent in my network, you won't see my buyer's name, you won't see my buyer's phone number, you won't be able to contact them, but you can see someone has a buyer looking at the house that I'm going on a listing appointment tonight. And in fact, throughout our network, we have 170 buyers like this that are looking for properties between 1.5 and 1.8 with schools rated in 10s, with a certain amount of square footage. And because we're all adding our buyers to the network, we all see that. So that makes the listing agent, the potential listing agent that goes on their appointment tonight, that much stronger. They don't have to come up with a list of their own buyers. They can seriously show, and I think the next slide shows what it looks like. They can show the buyer as they're speaking tonight, this is why you hire me. You don't just hire me, you hire the most powerful real estate company in Silicon Valley. This tonight, after we sign the listing agreement, I'm going to shoot out that it's listed, and I can shoot a message to all 170 serious buyers through their agents that this is now a property that's on the market, and they can see almost real time. It's almost impossible to beat that. As we grow, as we become bigger, this becomes more pronounced. So I've referenced why when Jess and I sit and say, as a goal, we want to be the biggest office on the West Coast. Imagine the power when you can go to a listing appointment and say, we've got 50 buyers in our office alone looking for a house like yours. When you can go out and say, this is how you're going to connect. This is how you're going to build. If you don't understand how to do this, it's vital. You cannot go to your next listing appointment not knowing how to use this tool. Understanding that you probably also want to work with buyers then, as a listing agent, you want to make sure everyone in our network, everyone in our office that's out there with the Jess Mets, with virtual open houses, talking to repeat clients that are now buyers, why it's so important that they put them on Real Scout, that they understand it's not just for you, and it is for you because it makes your job easier and better. It makes our network incredibly powerful, incredibly strong, and you don't want to be caught without it. The more engagement each one of us has really bolsters that network effect, really makes the statement that with every added user, the network becomes more powerful, becomes more valuable. So when we see that not every agent in our company is registered and using Real Scout, we're not disappointed because we wasted money. We're disappointed because we're losing a really integral part of who we could be as the premier real estate company, premier real estate office. And then by extension, we're minimizing how strong each individual agent is. So I spent a little more time than I thought on that, but I cannot stress enough how important that is. And I hope you understand it now. So when you work at Intero Cupertino, you should profit from a totally unique asset that enables you to list and sell more homes. You bring the power of the entire office, the entire company with you on every listing presentation, on every buyer presentation. You can demonstrate in a way that others can't just what you mean when you say the power of your company is one of the reasons they want to hire you. So again, every additional agent or consumer increases the overall value of the company. If we don't know how many buyers we have that we're working with collectively, how can we stress that value to the consumer? If we don't know how many listings we have and where they are and what amenities they have and how they will attract the buyer side, how can we be as powerful as we should be? We simply cannot be. So this is how they work at a real estate brokerage. Here's an example of some of the things I was talking about. So you go in and you sign in someone into on your Real Scout account, and you can send them a list, right? You can say, hey, here's a recent activity in your search area. 62 Wild Oak Place is a contemporary style home with in-law quarters, a bonus room, and this is real time. You get these alerts on Real Scout. You know which buyers you have in your database. Hopefully, they'll log in and they'll see it as soon or even before you. But if not, you can't wait. Push it to them. Real Scout allows you to do that. Gives you all kinds of information on the property. And the great thing is, instead of them being on Zillow looking at this and then saying, wow, I really love 855 Folsom Street, apartment 127. This is a great price. Let me look at all the amenities. Instead of saying, would you like to be connected to a top realtor in your area like Zillow does, like Redfin does, like any other site does? They have your information. It's branded to you. You've done the hard work of building your database. You did the hard work on the scripts practice and building your Mets and Jess Mets and creating and working on your CRM every single day. When you get them searching and looking and they love it, you should be the only name that they have. If you're not doing that, they're on Zillow, they're on Redfin, and you've all experienced this. You have clients that you're working with saying, yeah, I saw this on Zillow. Can you show it to me? Each time you hear that, you should sigh a fresh, you should let out a sigh of relief that they did not go down to the list and say, let me call this agent that's listed here. It shows that they're a top agent in the area. Never mind, they're just paying to be the top agent in the area. This is what you want up here. This is super powerful for you. On the dashboard, you'll see all kinds of things. Your clients, your searches, the Market 360, we'll talk about in a second, market trends, incredible things. You will see in your live feed, your client is looking at this. He viewed it 7 times. If your client has viewed one property 7 times, should you not call them? Is that not a call to action? I better see what's going on, right? And it just happened 2 minutes ago. They are still thinking about 7 Highland Boulevard. So what do? You come over to messages, you hit respond, you email them, or you could call them and say, Matthew, how's it going? Hey, listen, I just noticed you're looking at 7 Highland Boulevard. You looked at 7 times. Are there any questions you have about it? Can I schedule a showing for you? Do you need to see or know anything about that market, that neighborhood? I'd love to help you. These are actionable things you can do every single day in your business that'll make you look and sound like the top professional in your area. If you're just waiting for them to get alerts from Zillow, if you're waiting for them to get alerts from Redfin, not only again are you risking losing that, are you really showing that you're the best professional for them? I'm sorry if that sounds harsh, but this is in your arsenal. This is in your toolkit and you're not using it. How powerful is this, right? Again, like with Moxie, I'm not going to tell you that it's super easy to set up. And I say that because I'm not a techie person. So I would have trouble. But when you have the help, and again, we realize that it's exactly why we created the MIT position and made our IT department accessible to you. Now, as I said yesterday, I think if 100 segments go to our MIT and say, can you log me in? Can you show me how to set up a search? And you don't even have your database set up, you haven't practiced your scripts so that when you see that Matthew viewed 7 Highland Boulevard or Highland Boulevard 7 times or 2 times or however many times, you're going to know what to say. You're not going to be, you'll be motivated, but you'll be scared to call him. What's he going to ask me? What am I going to say? What if he has objections? How do I handle them? That's why we practice. So we understand the whole concept. We understand the whole flow of the business and why we're training you and teaching you on all these specific items. So if you've never understood this about Real Scout, I hope you understand it now. If you've used it, but not understood exactly how and why it works, I hope this makes you a more powerful user of this tool. If you now understand how your database, your CRM, your training, your tools, your systems all start working together to make you look like this really powerful machine, it doesn't matter if you're just one agent. It's doing all the real estate work behind the scenes so you can focus on listing, selling, prospecting, negotiating. That's it. All right, growth. Win more listing presentations. This is what I was talking about, okay? So whenever we put in buyers individually into Real Scout, again, it's not going to show anyone who your buyer is, but it will show them what they're looking for at what price ranges. So you go into a listing appointment, you can tell what that particular house listed at a particular price will fetch for under or over. If you're going in here and you say, I think it should be listed at 1.2 million, and your client says, I'm thinking more like 1.220, what does this mean? This means that between 1.2 million and 1,212,000, you have a massive drop off in buyers even looking at the property, okay? And I know agents have this problem. They know what it's listed, but the seller's insisting and absent any other data. Now imagine you go in there and say, look, I think we might be able to get that. There's still people looking in that range, but if we price it here, you're gonna lose these viewers. They're not even gonna look and click on your home. If you price it here, they'll still look and they'll still look. So the number of people looking at your property, even if they set a budget of 1.2 million for themselves, and you and I know you're looking for 1.212, 1.220, you've got the eyeballs, you're in the game. You cannot go into another listing presentation and not have this tool and then come away and say, well, I got it, but I had to cave on having it overpriced, and now I can feel it that we're going to have this discussion in 2 or 3 weeks after no showings, and all of that dread and all of that stress when you should be happy that you've got a listing. Again, I pray that from this day forward, no one in Terra Cupertino ever walks into a listing appointment without this chart. I just can't understand why you would. And I think you haven't because you didn't know it was there, or you didn't understand how it works and you couldn't explain the power of it. But now you can. It gives you a quick idea of what's going on in the area. Top 10 features wanted by buyers looking in that price range in that general area. Does your client have it? Does your property have it? This is, again, very powerful data that you can use in your listing presentation to win the deal, that you can use with your clients to show how the fact that you choose to work at a company like Intero, at an office like Intero Cupertino, brings so much added benefit, not only to you, but ultimately to the client. You cannot get this if you're not using Real Scout somewhere else. If you're using Real Scout on your own at another office, you don't have all of these insights that you do in our network. So this is what it looks like, right? You say, I have access to 180 buyers who might be interested in your property. 5 are clients in my brokerage. That means in your office and outer network. So again, very powerful tools. If you've never seen this, if you've never understood it, I hope you do now, and I hope you understand why. Really encourage you to understand the power and the scope of Real Scout. Not just, here's another free tool that Intero pays for you to use. Don't you love us? Don't leave. That's not what it's about. It's about growing, building, becoming more powerful as an agent, becoming more powerful teams, becoming a more powerful office, and ultimately growing our brokerage and our network. All right, so a lot of this is just functional. Again, the details and how each one of these works, all the different things you can do in this tool, they have, again, at their own website, all the tutorials, all the videos. We have on the Intero Hub and through the Intero Academy, a lot of training on how this works. But again, it is useless unless I can create a spark in you to understand, if you have not used it in the past, why you must. If you've checked it out, if you set up an account but don't really use it religiously, haven't linked it to your CRM, haven't linked it to all the different things and tools that we have, how much possibility you are missing, how much extra work you have to do to try to replicate this business when it does it for you. Again, allow the technology, the tools, the system, the methodology to take away the business of operating your business and free you up to do the dollar producing activities that only the agent can do, only the human touch can do: prospecting, listing, selling, negotiating. If you master all these tools, if you go through the training that we've started with Surge, if you start to build each one of these trainings as foundational work to building the business you ultimately want, you'll start to see results. You'll start to see why, when I ran a past office, if we were below 10 deals on average per year per agent, I thought we were doing a bad job. Why we led Silicon Valley top 2, top 3 offices in the Valley in productivity. We tried to understand at a very fundamental level. We didn't get starry-eyed about all the new and latest gadgets, all the new and latest tricks. What I mean by that is we fell in love with the newest, the latest, the greatest, and forgot to build a foundation. If you go out and buy a beautiful chandelier, what does it matter if you don't have a roof? If you go out and buy a baby grand piano, what does it matter if you don't have the room to put it in? And this is what too often happens in real estate. You're not mastering your basics. You're not fully implementing. And I say this even about productive agents because I'm using the word mastery. You know what it is, you know how to get into it, and you know how to use it at a certain level, but you don't master each step. You don't master each level. This is where we want you to be at the end of Surge. We want you to be at the end of Surge, understand your business at a fundamental level, understand the tools and systems and training and leverage that's available to you in our office, in our company, to free you up, get you out of running your business and into building your business as often and as much as possible. So a few more things to talk about. A lot of this we've already discuss, so I won't beat a dead horse. But here's an image that I recreated that goes back to what I was talking about. And this is from earlier, this idea that all the listings have an agent, all the buyers have an agent, they all go to the brokerage. This is what the platform is doing in real estate. It's building this. When the individual agent does not master and really work their database, when they don't train, they don't understand a script to dialogue to conversation, when they don't understand and master their CRM, when they don't link all of their tech tools so that all of their prospecting, all of their marketing goes in to capture buyers and sellers, you have these mega teams that are mastering it at a high level. And now they're adding agents to that team, and they're taking more and more and more. Yesterday, I showed you this idea of every year there's about 5 million transactions in real estate per year. And most agents are not paying attention to that. They're paying attention to all the leads. And the truth of the matter is, when you count all the leads, you find this idea, everyone is sharing the same leads. If you watch old school real estate movies and you see images of a broker coming in, a hard edge broker dropping the phone book in front of an agent and say, start calling. We're still doing the same thing. We have more tools than that telephone. We have more tools than that yellow phone book. Some of you are young enough might remember what that yellow phone book looked like. But that core structure still exists. When it was just you, the phone book, and a phone, it was all about how many dials can you make. When you have people mastering CRMs, when you have people in teams mastering their database, when they're mastering their CRM, when they're leveraging Real Scout, you, the phone, and the yellow pages is not enough. You end up out here. Now, that could be the business you want to build. And you may not say, I don't want to be on a team. I don't want to be a team leader. I don't want to be an agent on a team. You still have to learn the tactics to build a moat around your business. If you're in that, I do 4 to 5 transactions a year as a referral agent, and I'm happy with that. It's all past clients. You do not have the luxury in the future of saying, I don't have to add anything to keep that. You're better off than most. You already have that strong tie. But as these teams grow, as they build, they'll come in and they'll say, you can use Joe or you can use me for half price. There are already companies like that. Okay? That's what Redfin does. That's what others do. They know the stickiness you have to your client. They know they have your loyalty. So what's the only way that these disruptors can come in and take it? Charge half, charge a quarter. So again, not to be alarmist, but just to allow you to make a business decision about your future. If I just told you, do what you've done in the past, I'm sure it'll work in the future, I would be lying to you. I may be wrong, but I passionately believe I'm right. And I can show you tons and tons of data, tons of information and research I've done, that I've read, that others have done, that show what I'm talking about. And so this is ideally, I want you all to grow. That's a perfect person, a manager, a sales manager like me, working with Jess. In our minds, our dreams, every agent comes in and says, I want to double my business. We know that's not how it works. Some of you just say, I want to maintain. Understand that to maintain, you have to grow in this environment. When you have a network rolling towards platforms, you cannot keep the status quo. You cannot be the railroad and say, people always come to me. They love this. They love the coach. They love the dining service. They love the click clack of the track going from here to wherever. They're never going to leave us. They absolutely will. At some point, the planes will come in. All the other modes of shipment will come in. And as I said, the trains are still there. Amtrak is still running, half empty or mostly empty. It still runs. But other modes of transportation have grown and surpassed it. And this is where I want you to be, right? So that's Real Scout. That's how it works. That's why it was built. That's why companies like Intero say, we're going to take the massive cost of making sure every single one of our agents has this tool when they walk in the door. When they commit to working with us, we want to commit to them. We will give you the most powerful tools in the business, not only to grow your business, but to maintain your business if that's what you're looking for. And those of you that want to grow it, I hope you see now with 2 days of this, now with 2 days of let's build on top of the foundation of database, the foundation of scripts, the foundation of calling and returning calls for your clients, of building a business with value-based goals, and goals that you then put into a really cohesive, really coherent business plan. And then something that you, in partnership with management, with Jess and I and Mark, work on every single day. How do we make sure it works? We give you these tools. We train you on the tools. We explain what they are, how they should work. And then the best part of all, we have incredible MITs that are there to help you build this business every day. So the first several days of Surge, you need help on, you come to me, you come to Jess. We'll help you with those foundational items. Starting yesterday and today, you need help. How do I log into Real Scout? How do I log in to Moxie Engage? How do I set up all these things? Then you go to our MITs. They become an extremely valuable, and then once your business is operating, probably more valuable than Jess or I. Because once we've helped you build a business plan, once we've identified how to get your database up and running, once we've set up the training that you need daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly to operate your business, the MITs are the ones that help you run it systematically on time with little to no problems going forward. Again, I do not want to be unfair to our MITs. I do not want to slam them with 20 people saying, set me up on Real Scout when you don't have your database set up. I'm not trying to be mean about that. I'm trying to be practical. It does not make sense to set you up in Real Scout if you don't have your database yet. It doesn't make sense to put you in a tool that will draw more calls to you if you don't know what to say on the phone. And this is why we set up the training this way. So I hope you see the value in all this. I hope you see how it's all designed to work together. I hope you see how it's all designed to build you as an agent, build your business into a sustainable, coherent business that is duplicatable, that is run on goals, it's run on accountability, it's run on systems, and it's run by leveraging everything around you. This last part is something I believe they shared with us already, and it's how to use Real Scout during this COVID era. So it's about 10 more pages. I'm not going to read them to you. If you found this session valuable, if you hopefully found a new reason to go back in and engage with Real Scout, marry it with all of the other planning and training you're doing, and you can see now how it will help you run your business so you can work on building your business. Email me and I'll send you this PDF, a market disruption playbook on what to do and how to use Real Scout during COVID-19. Okay, thank you again for another hour of your attention. I know this schedule has been really, really fast-paced, but I trust and I think from some of the responses I'm getting privately and some that you share that you're finding value, and ultimately value moves into your business growing, or you're building a business that cannot be disrupted by others. You control your destiny, you control your productivity, you control your profitability, which then allows you to do all the things in your personal life that you find valuable and important. All right, so with that, I will see you again tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Go out, join us again at 9:30 for the script practices, and then your calls at 10 to 11. I hope with today's and yesterday's, that 10 to 11 hour of calling is way more valuable. And I hope the homework we give you each day, now you see a little bit better reason to, and maybe direction on how to do and where to do in that homework. And then finally, your 5 o'clock check-in each day, I hope you see becomes way more valuable. Track your productivity, track your activities, create a cadence of accountability so your business can grow. All right, thank you everybody. I'll see you guys later today.